accurate, transparent, undiluted. We go deep. We bring you the news behind the news. Hana FM News. If it's new, then it's news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the World News at noon on Ono 103.5 FM Ibadan. On the national scene this afternoon, President Tinubu says Africa has what it takes to develop itself. In African news, Mali government impounds 3 tons of gold from Canadian company. On the foreign scene, hope for peace rises as Gaza ceasefire talks resume in Qatar. In business, Nigerian government announces 2 savings bond offers. In entertainment, cut adjourns Speed Darlington's 300 million naira suit. And finally, in sport news, Cristiano Ronaldo to become highest paid player in history. Welcome once again to the news at noon. I am Timi Tokwedada. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has called on Africa to act now, saying that the continent has what it takes to develop itself. Speaking during a meeting with the Rwandan President Paul Kagame at the sidelines of the Abu Dhabi Sustainable Week Summit in United Arab Emirates, Tinubu said Africa had the resources, the people and the capacity and must look inward to improve intra-African trade and collaboration to benefit the African people and the continent. President Tinubu is expected to use the summit to stress his administration's reforms, including those related to energy sufficiency, transportation, public health, and economic development. Also in the news this afternoon, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, said it has presented 4 more witnesses in the ongoing trial of former Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, before Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja. Maman is being prosecuted by the EFCC on a 12-count charge bordering on conspiracy to commit money laundering to the tune of 33,804,835,000 naira. At Monday's proceedings, prosecuting counsel Rotimi Oyedepo-San told the court that the EFCC was prepared to further prove its case with 4 more witnesses, whom he said were compliance officers at Zenith, UBA, GTB, and Wema Banks, respectively. The matter was thereafter adjourned to January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of 2025 for the continuation of the hearing. On the African news this afternoon, coming from Mali, based on an internal barrack letter seen by newsmen, Mali's military government has started seizing gold stocks of the Canadian mining company in Barrick as part of a legal battle over the share of revenue owed to the West African state. The letter from CEO Mark Bristow of the Malian mining minister, dated Monday, says Barrick was awaiting official confirmation of the proper receipt by the Malian Solidarity Bank, a government entity. The seizure follows a warning letter to Barrick earlier this month from Mali's senior investigating judge, Moussa Diarra, saying 3 tons of gold would be seized. According to the senior manager, the gold was taken from a mine near Kayers in the west and transported by plane and truck to the capital on Saturday. Moving on to the foreign scene, negotiators are set to reconvene in Qatar to try to finalize a deal for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of hostages, with signs that Israel and Hamas are on the brink of an agreement. A Palestinian official familiar with the negotiations mentioned, for the first time in the war, delegations from Israel and Hamas are conducting indirect talks in the same building, as Hamas is also said to have dropped its condition for Israeli troops to leave the Strip. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden said a deal was on the brink of coming to reality. The new development comes after threats by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump saying hell will break loose if no deal is reached by the time he is inaugurated on the 20th of January 2025. Lacrosse coming from South Korea this afternoon. The Constitutional Court of South Korea has held its fourth hearing to decide if suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol should be removed from office after his shock martial law attempt last month. The hearing, however, ended within 4 minutes because of Yoon's absence, because his lawyers had earlier said he would not attend for his safety, as there is a warrant out of his arrest on separate charges of insurrection. Yoon was suspended after members of his party voted with the opposition to impeach him in December. However, he will only be formally removed from office if at least 6 of the 8-member Constitutional Court bench votes to uphold the impeachment. If you were just joining us, you are listening to the World News on 103.5 FM Ibadan. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media handles at 103.5 FM. And you can also listen live on the Radio Garden app at Honor FM Ibadan. And now to the business report. The Nigerian government, through the Debt Management Office, has announced 2 savings bond offers. This was contained in DMO's recent notice, noting that 2 savings bonds have some special features. The first one is a 2-year bond that pays 17.23% of interest per annum and ends in January 2027, while the second is a 3-year bond that pays 18.23% of interest each year and ends in January 2028. They are tax-free under both company and personal tax laws. Big investors like pension funds and trustees are allowed to buy them, and each bond costs 1,000 naira. According to DMO, these are very safe investments because they are backed by Nigeria's federal government with promises to pay back the money. In entertainment story, a federal high court sitting in Abuja on Monday adjourned an 300 million naira fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by the 10th singer Darlington, popularly known as Pete Darlington, against the police until January 27. The presiding judge, Justice Musa, fixed the date after an application by counsel for the Inspector General of Police, Audu Gabar, seeking a short day to enable him study the further affidavits served on him in the open court. When the matter was called, Marshall told the court that the matter was for hearing of the substantive application for fundamental right enforcement of his client. According to him, the police served on them their counter affidavit on Friday, and a further affidavit had also been filed in response. And finally, in sport news for this afternoon, our Nassau striker Cristiano Ronaldo has agreed on an extension to his contract with the club, which will see him remain the highest paid player in history. It is believed that a 5-time Ballon d'Or winner is close to agreeing terms on a deal worth 173 million euros per season, as his current contract is set to expire in the summer. But it appears Ronaldo is willing to continue playing with Al Nassr. The 39-year-old has been linked with a few clubs, including Al Hilal, where Neymar Jr. is constantly playing. It is, however, being claimed that Ronaldo wants to compete with them rather than represent them. Ronaldo has scored 81 goals in 90 appearances for the club and has already become a centurion in the goal department at previous clubs Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus. And that was the world news at noon on Honor 103.5 FM Ibadan. Before we go, here is a recap of the major stories. On the national news this afternoon, we informed you that President Tinubu says Africa has what it takes to develop itself. On the African news, Mali government has impounded 3 tons of gold from a Canadian company. On the foreign scene, hope for peace has risen as Gaza ceasefire talks resume in Qatar. In business, the Nigerian government has announced 2 savings bond offers. In entertainment, Kurt has adjourned Speed Darlington's 300 million naira suit against IGP to January 27. And in sport, Cristiano Ronaldo is set to become the highest paid player in history with a new deal. For eyewitness reports, news mentions, and news commercials, contact the Honor FM newsroom at 0817-675-5555 or 0913-600-1035. You can also visit our website at www.honorfm1035.net for more information. The World News was compiled and edited by Richard Ekpo. I am Temi Tokwedada. Thanks for listening.